Hello everyone, this is Hans again with part 26 of a video series I'm making on creating a multiplayer online real-time 3D space shooter game from scratch. And for tonight, I would like to continue working on our header.php page by finally adding some of our navigation buttons, which was basically this section here. So adding the navigation buttons will be quite complex. I'm not really sure if we will be able to cover this during this one video here, but we'll just continue the following ones. Let me just start. So we have here our navigation bar div that we have also included in our animation, and there are a couple of buttons I'd like to add. One is like the home button, the other one is maybe the player's page. One is a button to our alliances information. One is a button to our messages. One maybe for our forum, and the last one maybe for an FAQ section. So we are going to include each of these buttons inside div tags, of course. So let me just add them inside div tags. We'll just open and close the divs for now, so that we can just slowly. Now, okay, let me just close the div. Now we need to close this div here one as well, and so we keep going. Include them and open another div for our messages and close that div. And one more for our forum. Just scroll down here. And what am I doing here? Slowly now. I forgot to close this one. Let me just check. Open, close. Okay. And close this one as well. So it's easy to check if divs went wrong because each pair is highlighted every time you click on one. So you can quickly and visually check if all divs have been written down correctly. And the next thing I would like to do, I would like to, instead of using div IDs this time, use these divs to be classified as classes. The difference between ID and class is that an ID can be allocated only exactly to one div, while a class can be used by as many divs as you like. So this will actually ease up our process of creating the CSS attributes for our div buttons. So let's just like class is equal to, let's just call them nav button. Okay, and since this is going to be the same for all our navigation buttons, I'm just going to copy this down here. And next one. There we go. Let's just save this for now and see first how our web page is looking. Let's upload our header page, navigate to a web browser and hit refresh. There you go. Okay, they are still not very nice looking if you ask me. We haven't done any formatting as of yet. Let's go ahead and do that. For that, we'll need to go to our CSS file, which is right here, and right after our navigation bar area div, I'm going to add classes in CSS file are actually being referred to by starting your CSS styling with a dot as opposed to with the number signs if we are referring to IDs. So we start off with a dot and refer to our nav button here. Open and close our curly brackets again and make a little space. Let's just start with some basic things. For example, okay, let's just, since our navigation buttons are all having the same class, we can't really start using the position absolute and defining top and width values, otherwise they would all be like on top of each other. But there's a good alternative for that. This is the float attribute. We can use that and say, okay, I all want you to be side by side and arrange from left to right. So you can just save that and see if it actually worked by uploading our CSS file again here and refreshing our web page. And there we go, they are all now side by side. So let's just continue. What else? We can have the background color, of course, and I have decided for a yellow tone. Okay. Now let's see what happened. Refresh that and it's yellow. And okay, it's still not looking very good, and we can also see that they're quite not centered anymore because they are all now contained by divs. And to move them up a little again, I would like to maybe remove this top 20 down and replace it with a 0 within our navigation bar area. Now let's check if it did the trick. Hit F5 and we have them back in the middle. It's looking better and better. Now let us define more our button here. Let's, for example, make sure our Z index to be a number higher than the one our navigation bar area has, to like 4, just to make sure they are always on top. And another attribute I would like to add is, of course, the border style and border width, so that each button has a nice solid frame around them, and the border radius of our standard 5 pixels, just to make sure that the buttons have a nice rounded corner. So let's just start. We need a little more space here. Well, let's just create it. There we go. So let's just try the 5 pixels. And then I also want to make sure, no, let's just finish first. Border style is like solid, and of course the border width, like maybe, let's go for 2 pixels, doesn't need to be too thick. Let me see what else. Of course we will need to be, let's just see what happened first. Let's upload our style sheet and refresh our web page, and there you go. Now we're having more and more of buttons here. for some reason our hello world started moving with our FAQ. It shouldn't be doing that. Let's check out why. That should be in our index, the hello world body index. Let's look for the reason later. Okay, it's because it got covered. Let's see if our break lines will solve that problem for now, at least temporarily. Let's upload our index file here and see if it did the trick. Yes, it did. So our hello world got kind of like covered, overshadowed by these buttons, so it automatically moved its spacing so that it stays visible, which is like very commendable for that nice hello world div. Doesn't want to get hidden away, which is a good thing. We'll fix that later. And anyway, let's just keep going. And we also notice now that our buttons are of different width, which is actually depending on the message within that div. I would like to fix that and also make sure that the height will stay constant as well. And another thing is, you will notice that there are no spaces between our buttons. We will fix that as well. And let's just go ahead and do that. Let's go back to our style sheet and start off with the width. I think 100 pixels should do. Anything bigger than that, it's maybe over-dimensional. And maybe just go for a height so that it's a little taller than our standard text inside that button. And then of course we'll go for some margin. Maybe like margin will define the distance of one div to the other. I think we have used margin already before, somewhere here, where we said okay, margin button 5 pixels. Maybe we can do the same here by just saying margin left. Margin left. Let's go for like maybe 3 pixels for now. Let's see how this looks like. Let's save that, update our server again, and let's see how this is looking. Okay, a little big, and I think I could be a little higher up. Just a little. And also notice that our text here is not centered. We can change that as well. And let's center them first and see what happens. So, but the text centering of HTML components we can do directly in within our header here by using this nice simple HTML tag center. Of course we'll need to close that as well, otherwise everything will be centered from home down. Let me just copy paste this here for now in order for us to gain a little time. Then we need to close these center ones. No, I forgot here tag. There we go, and one more. Let's save that, update our server, and let's see what we have done. Okay, this is looking better and better if you ask me. Let's move them up a little. Let's go to our style sheet. And maybe here within our about -5 pixels so that it moves up our navigation bar. Okay, and we also need, of course, to update our server and hit F5 and okay, maybe pixel more down. Then we should have it in the middle. Let's go for like 3. Let's see. Okay, they seem to be in the middle already. I'm quite happy with that. And now let's see. Of course, if we click on our buttons, we are expecting to like navigate to these pages or that something happens at all. In order to do that, I would like to use and I also want to add some animation inside our buttons, so that if you like hover over it, I want to make sure that somehow the color changes or the formatting changes. And there's a nice neat CSS trick for that as well. We can use we can copy this whole nav button area one down and name this class. This will only take effect if we hover with our mouse over it. So if we hover over it, what I would like to do is I would like to change the color into something else. Here I picked one already. For now, this is the only thing that should happen. The color should change. Let's try that. Update our style sheet, and there we go. You see a light blue color is being replaced once we hover over our button. And to add more like drama over the animation, let's just add a couple of more things we would like to do. For example, maybe I want the font to become a little thicker, to become maybe from normal to bold. So font weight bold, and then what else? Maybe we want our border width to thicken up a little. No, let's see. We had here a border width of 2 pixels. We could change this like to 3 pixels. And since our border is becoming a little thicker, we may want the total width of our div to become a little smaller, so that it compensates the effect. We have here like 2, make a 98 out of this. So let's save that and see what happens. Update, of course, our server and refresh our web page here. See, this is getting a nice animation. So it has this feel now as if this button is being readied to be pushed down. So I'm quite happy with this now. Now, of course, something needs to happen if we click on it. Let's add a reference to our buttons inside our header.php page. For example, for now, I would like to keep just maybe using one web page for everything for now, and using more JavaScript to load or reload the scripts inside our home section or player section. So what I will do is, of course, add a reference like so, and call a JavaScript function instead of a new page. Let me call that JavaScript function just maybe navigation. Of course, that function hasn't been written yet. We will still need to do that. So I'll just call it navigation. And then, of course, and this time, since we are going to use one function for all these buttons here, we are going to pass in a parameter into our function, which is home. And then, of course, since we open a reference tag, we will need to close that again. So this is basically what we are going to do with all the other buttons here. Let me just copy this down so that they're all like having our reference. This one, Control C to copy. And of course we'll need to change the parameter that we pass in. Oh no, this is actually wrong. This will need to have, since this is a string, need to be included inside a quotation mark. In our case it will need to be a single one, because we have used the double quotation mark already for something else. So let's keep going here. And our FAQ. And let's save that, and let's go back to our web page after we updated our server and see what happened. Let me just click here. Now we need to update our header and refresh the web page, and then you will see now that the normal text have turned into a button, which is something very nice. Something I also would like to do, I would like to get rid of these underlined by links, so that it has more this button effect. And generally I don't like the underlining format of links, so I'm going to remove that using CSS as well. Let's just do that quickly. It shouldn't be too difficult. For that we need to go to our CSS file, and here we define whole HTML elements formatting. We can use the same for our link tags in HTML, and just simply say that the text decoration is supposed to be none. So let me save that, update our server again, that's style sheet, and notice now that the underline here are going to disappear. There we go, a button. So if we click on it, of course we can add more animation to them next time. Maybe like if I clicked on it already, maybe the color will change, stuff like that. We'll work it in by and by. But for now I think we have a very neat navigation bar already, and I think I'm way over my 10 minutes goal again. And I'd say that's it for now. Thanks everyone. Please don't forget to rate and subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.